At long last, the wait is over. We finally have Major League Baseball right around the corner, coming at you guys here in the next edition of Sideline Sports Podcast. Welcome to Sideline Sports Podcast. I am the host, Alex Naveja, and if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. We've got a good edition of Sideline Sports Podcast lined up for all of you today. I'm the host, Alex Naveja, and of course, if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. And of course, the source for all of your SoCal sports news. And with me today are the boys from G&T Sports Talk. They're coming back to talk about baseball. They're stoked about it. Julian, Guilarte, and Bobby Thompson. Gentlemen, how you guys doing today? And you know what? Welcome back. It's been since the NFL draft that we had you on the show.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we're happy to be back after all this. And that seems like the last significant sporting event we've had, honestly.
It's been a while, man. We're excited to be back and ready to get talking about what everyone's been waiting for, baseball, man.
I know you guys are stoked, and I know, of course, I'm really stoked about this. But you know what? Before we start talking about the baseball news, I want to let the people know about the little project that I know Julian started along with some others. And I know just it's been so fortunate enough to be able to be a part of that project. Julian, would you be able to tell the fans out there what the little project that we have going on right now for baseball?
Oh, you're talking about the Fan Association?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, Bobby's a part of this too, obviously. And we always want to voice the opinions of the fans. And we have we're trying to unite all the fan bases together, get representatives from each team and all that, especially with everything going on. We wanted to make an outlet for fans to complain against Major League Baseball, issues we had, and believe me, there was a lot of them all throughout all this. And so we're starting to gain some momentum. I mean, we have a lot of work to do, obviously, but we're making great strides, I would say, and I'm really happy you all support about it, and it's going to be fun. We're excited to see where this can go. Right now we have 434 followers. Obviously, we have to do a lot more than that, but we've got some great interactions on stuff, some good suggestions. Whatever you guys want, always let me know, and then we can just try to make this better and better.
Absolutely. I'm just so stoked, so excited to be a part of that and just to be able to represent the Dodgers fan base. Now, let's get straight to the action, straight to the business, boys. Now, they just came out with the reports that we will have baseball and it will be a 60-game season. July 1st will be that, I guess, so-called spring training reporting where all the players will be reporting to their home stadiums. Then July 23rd or July 24th is going to be that first day. Now, Julian, I know you have a lot more elaborating to do on it. So what have been the talks and what have been the reports going on right now?
Okay, so you hit the nail on the head with everything with the dates, as far as I know. The only thing I saw was that players might have to report a touch earlier to get testing for COVID, and pitchers and catchers are going to go first, as they normally do. And they said that they might have them go in waves, so they're all go at the same time or something. I don't know, for the issues with the virus maybe. And I'm not sure what they're going to do with games. I heard some teams might play a little bit, maybe you'll see some Yankees match, some inter-swap, but they're not going to have anyone travel on the planes yet to do spring training because they still have a lot of work to do to try to make this a little safer. I mean, like I said, I'm not a medical expert. I just know numbers are going up and there's a lot of concerns right now. So we're just going to have to see what happens. But I'm not worried about the season happening. I know a lot of people are still skeptical it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. They're ready. They're set. Will players get tested, and will they have a lot of mismatches? Yeah, the roster is going to be huge. It's going to start with 30 on opening day, and it's going to sink to 28 after 2 weeks and 26. And there's going to be a pool of 60 players that every team has to pick by Sunday at 3 p.m. And I believe it has to get cut to 40 after that, and then there'll be people left. I think the other 20 will be ready in case of an emergency. It's really confusing because it's a crazy situation, but I'm pretty sure I hit the nail on the head.
Right. Now, Bobby, what have they're saying that in 3 days they're going to release the schedule more or less. How are you expecting the schedule to come out this season?
Well, with this schedule, I did see, and Julian can attest with me for this, is I believe, Julian, what did you say? It's like 40 what was it? 40?
Yeah.
40 games in division, is that what it is?
Yeah, you have it right, and it actually
games.
pertains to both of our teams with this because Yankees and Dodgers both have a big interstate rivalry. You guys have the Angels, we have the Mets. So there's the 40 games for the division. That's set in stone for every team, no matter what. Then after that, it's a little bit different for each team, maybe depending on like how serious their inter-league rivalries are. So we're going to play the Mets 6 times. You guys are going to play the Angels 6 times. And then the other 4 teams are going to get mixed up, 3-3, 4-4. I don't know like how that's going to happen yet with which teams exactly, but that's what I know based on the numbers how it's going to work out.
Yeah, and with that, it's one thing about this schedule. You know what? The interleague play I'm really excited for, honestly, because of course, being Yankee fans as Julian and I are, we really love watching the Subway Series. There's nothing like it. We want to see Garrett Cole against Jacob deGrom. That's box office. But, and the one, I don't know if Jules, do we play the Dodgers this year or no?
No, because unless we get you in the World Series.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're all hoping for. But Alex, we're excited. When this schedule comes out, because that's the one thing I can't in the next few days. Once it comes out, I know we all will be talking about it. I'm looking forward to seeing who the Yankees are going to open up with. I'm praying to God it's the Mets. That's what we really want. What better way to start this shortened season, giving everybody what they want baseball with Garrett Cole going up against Jacob deGrom. And I said this earlier, with a battle of New York supremacy on the line to start the year.
I like it, fellas. I like it. I mean, that's a nice little rivalry going right there in New York with the Mets and with the Yankees. And it's going to be nice to see those pitching matchups there. I guess it's identical to the Dodgers and Angels matchup that we have. We don't call it the Subway Series. We call it the Freeway Series. You just take the 5 freeway, and there's that matchup. I mean, you guys have the pitching matchup. We have more of the hitters matchup. I guess you could say the Bellinger versus Trout matchup over here on the West Coast. But you know what? It just feels so good to just know that baseball's coming back. And you know what? I've been making jokes at my job saying that, you know what? America was off without baseball, but it feels like there's a light shining through the clouds right now, and it just feels like happier times right now.
I couldn't agree more. I just tell Bobby that every day at work. I'm like, I just want ball. Like, when are we going to play? And Bobby's like, what's the first pitch of the season going to be? We always joke around. We go like, I do my preview, sometimes we're like, here we go, like first day of the season.
Yep. Oh, I can't wait for that.
Bobby kept waiting. He's like, when are you going to do it? I'm like, oh my God, what's it going to happen?
But at long last, it has happened. Now, I want to talk a little bit about something that I know everybody wanted. The universal DH. How much of an impact is this going to have on the season? Go for it, Julian.
I'm actually curious. Did you want this too? Because I know most National League fans don't like this. You actually were in favor of it also?
You know what? I was always in favor of the pitcher hitting just because the National League, it makes it a little more strategic on scoring runs and make it a little more difficult and make the managers put them on the spotlight to figure out and place the chess pieces perfectly to defeat your opponent. But you know what? This is going to be really different, and who knows? If it goes well, the league may want to adapt to that. They may want to, 2021. Who knows? Maybe they'll keep the designated hitter.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for, man. Especially as American League guys, I just don't like seeing the pitchers hit. But I think that the National League fans will get used to it. Like, there's been a lot of rule changes. Like, remember there used to be no second wild card. People thought that sucked. Now everyone loves the one-game playoff. Like, there used to be no DH at all, and then look how that worked out for the American League and all the benefits we saw. Reggie Jackson, Edgar Martinez, David Ortiz, Giambi, et cetera, all these people. they used the DH spot that Edgar Martinez, obviously, we're going to say him. But, yeah, I mean, I've always liked the universal DH. And I really think it helps you guys, too, because now you can play Pollock and Peterson together. You don't have to platoon them.
Absolutely. I still feel like there's still some strategy that needs to be in place as well, as far as who's going to be that one player that's not going to take the field. Who's that player that's more of a slugger than someone that can take the field? Now, the next thing I want to talk about too is I know they've messed a little bit about the IL. Instead of having 60-day ILs, now they dropped it down to 45. And I believe they're still adapting with that 10-day IL stunt. But can you talk a little bit about that IL stunt, Bobby?
The IL stunt, now with this, is just the injured. To me, I'm always going to call it the DL, the disabled list. That's what I'm so used to.
Me too.
The one thing with this is the 45-day. You know what? I think what they're doing, Julian, I think you could help me out with this. With that is, I think they're doing this to give them more time to heal, I guess, during this time. Am I right?
Well, I mean, it's really confusing, honestly, because
it really is. Like, I'm actually extremely confused about this one, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, because, I mean, the games are so short. Like, 45 days is basically the whole season.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like 2/3 of the year. I'm not sure if that's like an extra protocol in case someone gets coronavirus and they want to be extra careful, maybe.
Right.
Otherwise, like, I saw a lot of things that said it's only going to be a 10-day injury list, but that doesn't make sense because if someone's gone for the year, you're just going to keep 10-daying them. I mean, I don't know. I got to look into that more.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up into that more. Like Alex, I'll tell you what. If a player goes on the 45-day IL, they should just, you know what? It's over because they only got 15 more games to play. And what's the use? You know, if you're on that list, in my opinion, you're in 5 or 6 games in. They put you on that list. Your season's basically over, especially if you're not making the playoffs.
So only having 15 days is not enough. Now, Julian, I know you had a little bit more to elaborate on as far as these IL stunts.
In terms of the injury list, like, yeah, I mean, it's going to be weird regardless. Like, someone goes down 10 days to 6 of the season. Let me try to see if I can find something. Who has this information? But regardless of that, it's going to be crazy, man.
Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. We're just crossing fingers. Nobody has to end up in that 45-day IL. But you know what? We're going to go to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how the minor leagues are starting to change their rules as far as extra innings are concerned. And, of course, some more baseball talk. With you guys, of course, G&T Talk, Julian and Bobby. Make sure to stick around for the second half of Sideline Sports Podcast, where if you're not on the sideline, it's not Sideline Sports Podcast. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Andrew Garcia, the catcher for the Cal State San Marcos Cougars, and you're watching Sideline Sports Podcast. Enjoy.
And we welcome you all back inside of Sideline Sports Podcast. Again, I'm the host, Alex Naveja, and with me today are the boys from G&T Sports Talk, Julian Guilarte, along with Bobby Thompson. First half, we were talking about how baseball is coming back, 60-game season, along with the universal DH being adapted into the league and for the 2020 season. Now, for this second half, I wanted to talk a little bit about the trade deadline. So instead of the deadline being on July 31st, the deadline is going to be on August 31st. So can you guys tell us a little bit about this trade deadline? I guess you could say extension.
Bobby had this perfectly before. Don't tell him exactly what you said before, whether we want your thoughts on everything.
Okay. My personal opinion about this trade deadline is it's ridiculous. I'm sorry. You're playing, the season starts July 24th. The trade deadline is August 31st. So you're telling me literally 40-something days later, you're going to have a trade deadline with a shortened season? It makes no sense whatsoever. I don't get it. What's the point of it? Like Julian and I joked about, you could go 15-15 and you're going to sell. Like during a shortened season, it just makes no sense. In my opinion, I think that should have been scratched this year. I also said that personal award should have been scratched. The only award that matters is a World Series champion, and in my opinion, the World Series MVP. But when it comes to the trade deadline, I just think, you know what, a month into the season, and you're thinking about selling off a future star or future prospect after a month into a shortened season, I'm just not for it. I said to Julian, in the NFL, they have a trade deadline literally a month, about 6 weeks after the start of the season, but it's already halfway through the year at that time. So with baseball right now, it's just way too short for me. I think they should have scratched the trade deadline. I'm not for that.
So you're saying just take it out completely, no trade deadline, no nothing like that, just straight baseball, no transactions like that?
Yeah, during the 60-game shortened season, I just don't see the benefit in doing a trade deadline after a month of playing baseball. I just don't see it. It's just too short of time.
I mean, you have a good point there, Bobby. I mean, I don't feel like that's enough time to really allow the players to prove themselves or really, enough. So I can see where you're coming from with it all.
Exactly. Yeah, it just doesn't give. You're right. It doesn't give them enough time. When I saw that alert yesterday, I'm like thinking to myself, why are they doing this? And I said to Julian, I think this is something has to do with the owners. Because listen, an owner might want to sell a player, get rid of some money, or something like that. But during a pandemic, a shortened season, 60 games. Listen, if it was 100 games, fine. I understand. I get it. Fine. 60 games, and you're going to tell me 40-something days into this, about a month later into it, you're going to want to sell players and get rid of, be a buyer or sell. It just doesn't give enough time. And it's just, I'm not for it right now. I just think, like I said, straight baseball, go playoffs, go to the World Series, and the only thing that matters is the World Series trophy. And as Julian and I said, as we joked, the World Series trophy is not just a piece of metal.
Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better like that, Bobby. So now you talked a little bit about the pandemic. So now, of course, the question that comes up is, what if there are players that are testing positive? I know Julian broke out some news yesterday on Twitter saying that Charlie Blackmon tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, what are the protocols that are going to be taken into consideration for this upcoming season, Julian?
Well, I've been looking at some of the stuff, and they're going to be very careful with the cleanliness. They don't want players before getting there too early. They don't want the players staying too late after the game. They want to get everyone in and out as quick as possible. The showers and stuff in the locker room, I don't know what they decided with that. I know the players wanted that, but there's no spitting, basically. All you can do is basically chew gum. You can't be within 6 feet of the umpire. If you try to argue, you'll just get tossed immediately. So, ejections and arguments are going to be very limited this year. You're not going to see any brawls, obviously. But from what I've heard, if this happens, they're just going to try to isolate the player and hope it doesn't spread, and they're going to have to quarantine them for 2 weeks or maybe longer. I don't know, if they would risk them coming back. That's a big question, I guess, and we'll see, once the season actually starts. I mean, there's been a couple cases that's happening at spring training, but Blackman's the most notable. I guess that's why it caught everyone's attention.
So what I heard also, Julian, was that for the players that test positive for coronavirus, they said that there would not be a timetable for their return, and if they want to return, they have to test negative both times. So they have to take the test twice and make sure that they test negative as well.
Okay. Yeah, so I said, that's why I wasn't sure, if the 2 weeks was a thing. It might be longer because they don't want to risk infecting anyone and, getting the whole team, because the biggest problem here is if the whole team gets it, what do? I guess that's why they have the 60 men ready. That's why you have such an taxi squad that Heyman first started talking about, and that's going to be very effective. And I also told Bobby, I saw this figure, they were thinking about having guys in Nashville ready to go in case they even need more people, minor leaguers paying $400 a week. of maybe around 100 players or so. I don't remember the exact number, but I think that would be a decent idea.
And another thing too, Julian, was that they also broke out reports that if this became a team-wide thing, city-wide thing, for wherever these teams are reporting to, that the league has a right to move all of those teams from that city to another city.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a big problem with Toronto, actually, because I don't know if they're going to be able to play in their stadium. I think it was them and one other team that might have an issue with their stadium.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, of course, knock on all the wooden bats that nothing happens. I mean, hopefully that doesn't happen or even get to the players. But now I want to talk about an interesting topic. I mean, this rule, they've been wanting to bring this in for maybe the last year or two. The extra innings runner in scoring position. Now, what I've read and I have understood from the reports is that they're going to adapt this into this minor league season. So after the 9th inning, they're going to have a runner in second base already to cut down on the baseball time. So Bobby, what are your thoughts on these reports that are coming out about the runner in scoring position?
Well, you know what? The way I see that, I thought that was very unorthodox, and the way it looks to me is that they want to get the game over as fast as possible. That's the way I'm looking at it. During this time, I think they want it to be very quick. Extra innings. Listen, we've seen games go into 18 or 19 innings sometimes. Having a runner in scoring position to start the game, all it takes is literally one single, and that brings in the run. So with that, I think it's pretty interesting. To me, you know what? I think it adds a different dynamic to the game. But to me personally, the way I see it, the way it seems to me, is that they want to get the game done as quick as possible so they're off the field. That's the way I see it. It's a very interesting way. I'm interested to see how it's going to work. But I can see that my personal opinion, I don't think you're going to see games go late into innings anymore with this rule.
Absolutely. I agree with that too. But I'm just going to say, if we weren't going through this pandemic, I would just say no, let the game play, let them figure out to get that last run. But because of this pandemic going on, then I'm okay with that. Just, hey, get that little blooper, the duck fart, just get that single somewhere and just try to finish this game as quick as possible. Let's go home and try to avoid any spread, avoid any additions to the numbers and the cases to COVID-19. So I mean, I can agree with this new rule.
Right. It's going to be interesting. It's very interesting to say the least. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
And of course, I think we're all going to be interested to see how this whole entire season is going to go with just reporting to the same venue, to, of course, not having any fans. And now you're really going to hear the crack of the bat now. And who knows? Maybe if it's that quiet, you might even hear the hiss of the fastball.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to hear the noise for the game. And that's why I was hoping it might the players up, but I haven't seen anything saying that's definitely going to happen. I don't know if you know anything about that, but it's going to be pure baseball. That's it.
Well, if you're a fan of pure baseball, that's exactly what you're going to get. A 60-game season, universal DH, and of course, the playoff platform going to be the same. But that's all the time we have left here on Sideline Sports Podcast. Of course, thank you so much for tuning into this episode. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, hit the subscribe button as well, because we're only getting bigger and better guests just like Julian and Bobby. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. And of course, thank you so much to Julian Guilarte and Bobby Thompson from the G&T Sports Talk for joining us on the podcast this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for having us. We love being on here, Alex. We're excited to get baseball started. We can't wait to talk to you soon.
Absolutely, fellas. I'm really hoping for that Dodgers-Yankees World Series. I will definitely talk real soon when that happens.
We're going to have to fly west, maybe. We'll see.
Yes, we will. I'm down.
Have a good one, everybody, and make sure to stay safe.